Welcome to the July webinar, monthly webinar of the LGMA constituency towards COP29. My name is Yunus Arikan. I am the Director of Global Advocacy at ICLE Local Governments for Sustainability, which is hosting and preparing this webinars on behalf of the local government and municipal authorities constituency in its capacity as its focal point. Um, we usually give one more minute for all the participants to settle down. During this couple of seconds, we just also take you through some of the basics of our webinars. Many of the colleagues participant in this call, we see them are regular participants, so they are more or less aware, but there are some new names, so it's always good to remind our process. So this is a recorded session, and it will be uploaded in the on the ICLE's YouTube channel, and it will also be shared to you with the links of the presentation as well. We recommend you to uh, join the presentation until the end, and then we usually open the question and answer. But in case there are some points you want to raise, you can always type it in the chat box or Q and answer box. Um, we usually have a basic presentation which can last around half an hour, and then we 40 minutes, and then we open the floor for participation. So time to time we have also guests of our webinars, and I'm delighted to inform you that for this round we are extremely delighted to be joined by COP28 presidency, the senior negotiator Elmar Mamadov, as well as Shahriar Hajiev. I will introduce both of them in the right moment in the session. Um, and we, as regular, we will have inputs from our colleague Blair Ronaldo, as well as our colleagues who have been involved in the drafting of the COP29 position. In the morning, we had Gökşen presenting it. She's also joined us, but we're assuming Eloise will also join us for the presentation as well. From the biodiversity section, we have received input from ICLES Cities Biodiversity Center with one slide, and I will show this at the end of the slide as well. So I think we have more or less reached to the maturation of our participation. So let's proceed without further ado. We are simply the LGMA constituency is the voice of uh, cities, towns, regions into the UNFCCC in the process, and we are proud that we are one of the three constituencies since the beginning of this, which is the first COP in Berlin, and throughout this processes. Obviously, we contribute in the negotiations by providing our interventions or statements in the negotiation agendas. We participate in terms of supporting to the action agenda of the high-level champions, which is an innovation since Paris Agreement. Um, we always contribute with collaborate with the presidencies because they have their unique priorities, and we are trying to make sure our achievements, our progresses in the past has been appropriate introduced so that they can be uh, taken up as appropriate by the presidencies. And so far, we have enjoyed this way of dialogue with all the presidencies, which we are very happy to that we are continuing with the Azerbaijan presidency. And of course, this is a party-driven process. The decisions of the UNFCCC negotiations are taken up by the national governments. Therefore, we continuously stay in touch with the friends of multi-level action, the national governments who support this agenda, and especially after Dubai, we are even more strengthened because we are more than 70 countries who have endorsed CHAMP initiative, and therefore we are also improving our dialogue with them, including those who have not endorsed CHAMP yet as well. Um, for those who would like to continue to be connected to our constituted efforts, you can join our monthly webinars, but you can also receive our bulletins, monthly bulletins, which is capturing the links and all the other updates. For those who are accredited to the UNFCCC and following our activities, you can also join our mailing list or also WhatsApp group. But we want to make sure that this is restricted to LGMA constituency. The webinars and bulletins are for public domain. Everyone can subscribe and participate, but mailing list and WhatsApp group is particularly open for the networks of local and regional governments, be it into the UNFCCC accreditation process or not. Um, we are talking about 30 plus years since the Earth Summit, and over these years we observe our engagement that we can define it in four phases. The first 3 or 4 years with the adoption of the convention and until the Kyoto Protocol negotiations, it was mainly that we were recognized as a constituency. We were relying on local agenda 21, and there were not too many participants at that time, very few networks in the space, and especially with the lack of recognition of the local and regional governments. We had been observing the first 10 years of this process relatively low profile. We had our side events on our own sessions. We had our own initiatives like Mayor's Protection Agreement, new networks building up, especially with 2007, when there was a process called Bali Roadmap, when there was a new effort to design a new climate regime. The LGMA constituency stepped up with local government climate roadmap. The goal was recognition, engagement, and empowerment. Obviously, with the Copenhagen failure, this was a bit postponed, but we have even more elevated our efforts because we believed in the multilateral processes. So after Cancun and onwards, we have advanced our activities. We have developed our own registry mechanisms, new partnerships. Compact of mayors was the result, and we were contributing to the NASCA. And during this process, we have concluded the Paris Agreement, which was first time in the preamble recognizing the importance of all levels of governance. With this recognition, obviously, a new era kicked off. Immediately, we embarked on the implementation of Paris Agreement. In addition to climate emergency declarations, a number of processes evolved, especially with Marrakesh Partnership, Talanoa dialogues, the cities IPCC process, the initiatives under the champions, um, and of course, starting from Glasgow, when the second phase was starting to be designed, we have advanced our initiatives as well. The Surge Initiative, the Champ Initiative, Urban and Climate Ministerials, which was one of our proposals since as back as 2013, have all started to become real. And these resulted our main achievements in Glasgow Climate Pact. Again, in the preamble, there was the recognition of this time the urgency for multi-level action. The term multi-level action was first time entered into the UNFC document in the Glasgow Pact, and the Emirates Consensus, paragraph 161, urged parties for multi-level action. And of course, Champ Initiative was an instrument to support this idea that the new NDC is to be prepared through multi-level collaboration. When we look at the COP28, we have these initiatives. Our Champ Initiative is one of the most prominent ones. It is part of the consensus as well, with the paragraphs, and of course, Troika is a new mechanism. Therefore, we recognize Dubai as one of the most ambitious, inclusive, and most uh, result-oriented in terms of multi-level action. Ambitious in terms of commitments, and inclusive in terms of mechanisms, as well as including new topics like nature, food, health, and culture, and multi-level in terms of champ and several paragraphs. We are recognized around 15 paragraphs in the UAE consensus. And of course, LGMA played a critical role bridging the local climate action summit, the urban ministerial, the pavilion, the negotiation results. So that proved how instrumental LGMA was playing a role in all these efforts. Um, Now we're coming to this new era because this is a cyclic process. The countries who are responsible for the decisions implementation in the first 6 months, they are much more actively involved. During this period, the upcoming or the incoming presidency starts to uh, construct their teams, define their priorities, especially after the June session in Bonn. The presidencies start to gradually hand over to the incoming presidencies, and we are delighted to see. And this slide was the latest version because there are some updates. Um, During the June sessions, we had enjoyed being in person dialogue with both the president designate and his teams, including Nigar Arpadaray, the high level champion. Obviously, we had started this dialogue starting from Copenhagen, Petersburg, and we will continue in pre-COP. These three meetings are informal meetings, but the sessions in June in Bonn are the official ones. As of today, the presidency has announced a full team, which is including high-level climate action champion, youth climate champion, and they have assigned their senior and negotiators on the initiatives, Mr. Elmar Mamadov, Elmar Bey, as well as observers focal point Shahriar Hajiev. One additional point that the COP29 presidency has also introduced the International Advisory Board, and in the past we have also enjoyed representatives there. In Glasgow, we had Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti. In Sharm el Sheikh, we had Makati City. There was not a, there was no advisory board in Sharm el Sheikh, but in Dubai we had Makati City Mayor Abi Binay in the advisory board. So this year we are very happy to see two leaders from local communities, local governments, Maimuna Sharif, a former executive director of UN Habitat and the former mayor of Sabarakprai, as well as Quezon City Mayor Josephine Belmonte are included in the International Advisory Board. So the COP29 presidency has already started announcements and first letters circulated. But before going into details, maybe I'd like to invite my colleague Shahriar Hajiev on behalf of COP29 presidency, who is leading the observer engagement. First of all, to briefly introduce his role in the team, but maybe until Elmar Bey comes, maybe also speak about the preparations. But before that, we once again would like to congratulate Shahriar and Elmar Bey as the whole COP29 presidency, and especially express our gratitude for reserving their time to join us and to share their perspectives with us. The floor is yours, Shahriar. Thank you.
Thank you, Yunus Bey. Good afternoon to all. It's my honor and privilege to participate in this webinar. My name is Shahriar Hajiev. I am from COP29 presidency team, responsible for observer engagement, and my official title is point of contact for observer organizations. First of all, I would like to reiterate the position of the COP29 incoming presidency that inclusivity is one of the guiding principles for us in our approach and engagement in this COP29 process as a whole. And bearing in mind this, the presidency utilizes every opportunity to listen to, hear non-party stakeholders, be it starting from Copenhagen Climate Ministerial, Petersburg Climate Dialogue, or our meeting with UNFCCC constituencies back in June during the SB 60 session. And we have also started our bilateral engagements with NGOs in delivering ambitious and effective climate action. And bearing in mind the regulatory documents coming from the SB, we have already started to have monthly engagement with the UNFCCC constituencies, including LGMA, in which Mr. Yunus Arkan participates. It is being held at the level of lead negotiator, Mr. Yalchin Brafiev, during which we'll listen and have discussions on different aspects of COP29, ranging from logistics to negotiation items and all issues surrounding the global climate action, for which this year there are high expectations, we understand, is expected from Azerbaijan as the COP29 presidency. And I would like also to give a brief information about the Friends of the COP29 presidency. This is an initiative informed in our letter sent to parties and observers, more to be followed. We will be establishing this group of friends exclusively focusing on negotiation aspects, and we will kindly ask the constituencies to send their representatives in this virtual to be followed by in-person platform for having detailed and thorough discussions on different negotiation aspects. And I also would like to give information that we are going to have an head of delegations retreat at the end of this week, the outcomes of which will be given and provided to the UNFCCC constituencies. You will have the full information about the outcomes, and you can be sure that as the presidency, we are trying our best and we are willing to deliver an ambitious climate action, utilizing all resources of the country, representing different, comprising different state authorities. And this would be the overall position and some remarks from my side. And I hope that when our co-lead, Mr. Ilmar Mehmedov, he leads the initiatives and partnership team within the COP29 presidency, who will be joining us shortly, will provide you information about the initiatives and how the presidency will take approach in involving different stakeholders, including UNFCCC constituencies and LGMA, in delivering effective outcomes by these proposed initiatives.
Dear Shahriar, thanks a lot. As we have been in this process, I think your effort for creating a Friends of Presidency through the constituency engagement on the negotiation agenda is one of the new innovations that we haven't seen before. So congratulations. I think we will appreciate. We hope you will be able to stay until the end, because there you would also hear our position for the various agenda items of COP29 negotiations. So we are already advanced in that space, and we would be more than happy to define our representatives and contribute. As you said, we have this slide reserved for Elmar Bey. In order to make effective use of our time, I suggest we proceed. And in case we have any issues of connectivity, we can always also count on you or Leah Ronaldo, who's our colleague from UN Habitat, because COP29 president has already announced that, especially on the thematic days and initiatives, they will be working with the UN system, and in the UN system, UN Habitat is assigned their partner. So, worst case, Leah will also be helping us to go through these topics. Maybe we can continue in our agenda in that sense. That For our colleagues, we use these webinars to review what has happened in the previous month and then prepare for the next one. Obviously, due to extreme workload and conflicting agendas, we will have to cancel the June webinar. So in this round, we will be going through 2 months of our activity. So we try to still make it as much as inclusive but as focused, so that we still can stay within the 1 hour limitation. But just a reminder for ourselves, we are tracking our engagement in 3 work streams. One, the blue color activities, which is the UN or UNFCCC. It's not just UNFCCC, especially with UN Environment Assembly, UN Habitat Assembly, the ECOSTOC and UN General Assembly related processes. We are engaged in a number of processes, ICLE leading in the Rio Conventions and the Global Task Force and others as well. The yellow lines are the ones that are outside the UN process. These are the ones like G7, G20, and we have Urban 7, Urban 20, or other processes which we are participating based on the rules defined by the hosts of these processes, and they don't necessarily have to follow the UN process. That's why we are aware of that there are some nuances in the way we are engaging this. And the green line, green boxes at the bottom, is the process that we lead as actually ICLE or LGMA partners. These are the meetings or the processes that we define the rules, we define the engagement modalities, and that's where we are more feeling like we are the hosts, and we are very, very happy that many of our partners are joining us, be it the summits of Urban 7, Urban 20, or the general assemblies of our partners like Regions 4, or the regional climate weeks, New York, Belém, London lately, or World Congresses of ICLE, and other meetings as such, like their own cities. Um, what we could observe in the last 2 months. So our last meeting, last webinar was in May, end of May, and since then, the five main, let's say, headlines that we can think about is that first of all, we have a champ section and the LGMA website. We are all aware CHAMP is an initiative or a commitment of the national governments, but LGMA has played a huge role in bringing this to a reality and making sure commitments are delivered. In order to support this process, we have created our website. You will just see in the screenshot. We have uploaded all the documents, all the meetings or the relevant blogs, so that you can visit this as a one-stop shop. Daring Cities was an important agenda. Bond Dialogues, it was also overlapping with the first week of SB60, but we also continued to be participating in SB60 throughout this 2 weeks time here in Bonn. The highlights was that we had a champ endorsers roundtable. That was first of its kind. It was a closed door meeting, and we had seen the value of such an atmosphere, because when parties were more comfortable to be able to share frankly their progress from Colombia to Canada, from Rwanda to Emirates and Germany, they were much more open-minded, and they were taking this as an opportunity to refresh their preparations and then develop even new ideas. So that was helpful, and we would like to continue this in the future sessions. Then we had our public event, which was at the GIZ Auditorium, Daring Cities Dialogues. We had high-level champion, COP29 champion there, and we had continued breakout groups. The plenary meetings of this event was broadcasted. That was an additional feature, because the next day, when we were in the UNFCCC, the participation and was limited to only those who had tickets to the UNFCCC Blue Zone, and there were no webcasts. So this again shows the engagement opportunities of LGMA, ICLE, and the partners that can enable to communicate the outcome of such dialogues to a broader community, and then we can bring even more contribution and share these outcomes in a wider platform. Of course, all these events were communicated also through our newsletters, LGMA Bulletin, Daring Cities newsletters, that those who were not in person could receive the updates through our blogs, through our recordings, video messages. Over this couple of days, we had also participated in UNFCCC side events, interventions, and some of the other dialogues with the negotiators. And during this week, we had also enjoyed the urban components of the NDCs, the latest flagship report of UN Habitat, which we have been enjoying to support in content-wise, also disseminating its outcomes. And Leah will touch upon it very shortly in the next couple of slides. After June, we had an important agenda in Sao Paulo. The Urban Summit was consisting of ICLE World Congress, where we had the Brazilian Minister of Cities, the video message from COP28 presidency, high-level champion, as well as Maimuna Sharif. And meanwhile, Urban 20 colleagues have been working with the G20 president, again, the Brazilian government. We had several other meetings in between, panels and plenaries. And after this Sao Paulo, we also continued to engage with the Regions 4 Assembly, as well as Urban 7 also released their statement to the G7 outcome document. Over these days, it was very dynamic, starting from the Champ Endorsers Roundtable with the initiative of Mayor of Bonn in her capacity as ICLE GAXCOM member, as well as the Vice President of the German Association of Cities, or Association of German Cities. We have kicked off a momentum of inviting local government associations at the national level to announce their endorsement to their governments, to support, to express their readiness to work with, and then also key a message to their members so that they could contribute in the implementation. This was immediately received very well by the German, Brazilian, and U.S. National associations, and we will hope that will be the continuing in the coming days and weeks. And in July, our flagship event was the Global Task Force report to the High-Level Political Forum 2024, with a specific focus on SDG 13, which was drafted by PLAY and the LGMA partners as well. Uh, I have seen now Elmar Mamadov has joined us from the COP29 presidency. If you wish, we can go back because the next slides will be screenshots of what we have just summarized. But I think knowing time is always a very limited resource for all of us. I do not want to make Elmar Mamadov to wait too long in the line. Therefore, we will go back to the original slide. Elmar Bey, Shahriar has just explained the approach of the presidency for inclusive engagement, including a new innovation to create a Friends of Constituencies or Friends of Presidency with constituencies. So we heard from him, but we would be happy to hear your feedback, your vision and preparations for the action agenda and other initiatives. This screenshot you have seen here is extracted from your letter from the president designate to the observers and parties. And we have just made a screenshot of the draft declaration. And the floor is yours. Feel free to present it from your perspective. And
Yeah.
once again, thank you very much for your time and recognition and support to our constituency.
Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me to this very important webinar. I would like start from thematic days. We have 5 firsts in this thematic days. First time we'll have integrated single thematic day, finance, investment, and trade, because never finance, investment, and trade was together. It will be first time because it is very important to bring together climate finance, investment, and trade nexus. Second, we'll have first time human capital day. Then we'll have first time education day. We'll have also first time tourism day. We will have also first time digitalization day. This is the 5 first on thematic days. For designing of the action agenda, we used 5 key principles. We tried to find 5 balances. First of all, we tried to ensure balance between 3 pillars of climate agenda: climate finance, mitigation, and adaptation. Second principle, to have balance between enhancing ambition and enabling action. In other words, between ambitions and pragmatism for realization of these ambitions. Third principle, we also would like to ensure balance between 3 dimensions of sustainable development, between economic, social, and environmental dimensions. Fourth principle, we would like to ensure that we have in our list not only global initiatives, but at the same time regional initiatives, and regional initiatives will complement global one. And finally, to ensure harmony between human and nature through our initiatives. On global and regional initiatives, on global initiative, particularly on multi-sectoral actions partnership for sustainable, climate resilient, and healthy cities, we would like to tackle issues which never been tackled by previous initiatives by CHAMP or SEARCH, and to tackle 5 new fields. First of all, afforestation and reforestation in cities. Second one to tackle such issues like climate resilient cities and early warning systems in the cities. Third one again on circular economy and urban agriculture in cities, which never been also tackled, and also digital solutions for cities and green technologies. Also, we would like to introduce through this MAP initiative, multi-sectoral actions partnership, two new tools. First of all, we would like to ensure complementarity between all COP urban initiatives, between Search, CHAMP, and MAP, through establishing MAP urban ambassador or global MAP urban ambassador, who will ensure complementarity between this initiative and at the same time linkage of different urban global forums. First of all, UNFCCC COP urban processes, and also UN Habitat World Urban Forums, and also UNEP World Environment Days, because all the three has urban elements, and we need to have again complementarity and linkage. And second one is a new innovative element to enhance climate urban finance, particularly taking into account that COP29 is climate finance, by establishing such a partnership or collaboration on a MAP partnership on climate urban finance. This, at the same time, this is a global initiative, and also innovation will be that first time we'll bring together ministers and mayors around the same table, because until today it was separately organized for mayors, separate summit, for ministers separate meeting. Now we would like to bring different stakeholders together, ministers, mayors, and even also members of the parliaments, because in the parliaments also we have parliamentarians who are responsible for cities, also parliamentarians elected from cities, from regions. They are very well aware on challenges of cities, and it will be first time that these two elected persons, mayors, and also parliamentarians, and also nominated ministers will sign such a declaration. This is a global initiative. At the same time, in our region, we are participating in different regional programs and different also regional organizations, and we initiated to establish new track for urban track. For example, in the framework of United Nations, we have United Nations Special Program for Economies of Central Asia, SPECA program, supported by UNEC and UNESCAP. We are now creating new urban track. Will create Forum of Climate Smart Cities for SPECA. And even yesterday I discussed with Central Asian Regional Economic Cooperation, supported by ADB, CAREC, to make it a SPECA plus CAREC Forum of Climate Smart Cities. Now we are discussing this issue. Second, also urban track we would like to create within the framework of Organization of Turkic States. Also, this is our regional organization where we'll bring together. And we selected, for example, cities which are participating joined to EBRD Green City program. I personally was responsible for last several years for participation of our city of Ganja in EBRD Green City program, and EBRD supported elaboration of Green City Action Plan for the city. And actually, this Green City Action Plan, actually, it is a investment plan for NDC, for climate, for green transition for city, because all investment plans are in this list, in Green City Action Plan. Because in our region, I personally analyzed that cities participate in, on the one side, in EBRD Green City program, on the other side, they are participating in UNEC, UN Habitat, UN ITU, Smart Sustainable Cities program. Also, they are participating in WHO Healthy Cities program. That's why idea of creation of such a regional forums to bring together and to ensure complementarity and synergy between these different programs of different international organizations. In other words, to ensure efficiency for global resources. That's why through our global initiative, also we would like to ensure that we will implement this global initiative at the regional level through such a regional formats. Today, I had a meeting with African Development Bank. I proposed to them also, because they also expressed interest, African Development Bank, that they have also interest on urban issues, and I propose them also, if they have regional programs, they can also create such a regional urban forums for cities for implementation of such a region, such global initiatives. This is generally on our urban development issues. For us at the national level also, urban development is priority. The city, our capital city of Baku, will host this year COP29. In 2026, Baku will host World Urban Forum, 13th session of World Urban Forum, and also World Environment Day. And it will perfectly fits with our idea to bring together the three global platforms together to tackle this issue. But at the same time, our idea through our initiatives also to contribute implementation of Surge and Jump, because this is very important that we contribute also to implementation of previous initiatives. I wanted just to share with you on this vision, and as my colleague Shahryar Hajiev mentioned, if you would like to make COP29 process maximum inclusive, and that's why in Bonn, only our action agenda team, we had more than 50 meetings with all stakeholders, with countries, with international organizations, multilateral development banks, philanthropic organizations, NGOs, think tanks, with all of them to get their feedback, and we tried to integrate this feedback into these initiatives. And now we shared also with all of you to get your, again, feedback on the text to make it maximum inclusive and maximum comprehensive process. And again, we are open to listen your comments, your proposal, suggestions, how we can make it better and improve it. Thank you.
Thank you, and Mr. Mamadov. Congratulations for this very comprehensive presentation and this holistic vision. And it's really, we can feel how you have responded to our proposals when we were in Bonn, in Copenhagen, in Berlin, especially in considering Azerbaijan or Baku as a bridge to a broader geography, not just limited to its own territory, but beyond the region. Let's be realistic. In the global networks and regional networks, the participation of these citizens from this region are not too active, and then we have expressed our willingness. And hearing your vision to introduce new momentum and new initiatives is very welcoming. Especially knowing we have discussed before, the second week of COP will be overlapping with G20 and Urban 20, obviously. We are all aware Urban 20 is just a subset of the whole local and regional government networks. Therefore, having this vision can even be introducing new actors, new names, new faces, to make sure that we are on the same page, and with your vision to make sure that the initiatives is complementing what is being kicked off, and making sure that we have even been expanding our outreach and implementation mechanism, in bringing finance is really welcoming. In the morning, we have discussed with you. We are very kindly offered to extend the feedback period until the end of this month. And we discussed with Leah that we will circulate now. We have already circulated the PDF document, but we have been informed that there is a Word document or shared file. We will invite all the LGMA partners to share their comments, but we will also come with you by the end of this month, a joint also feedback, so that you can take this into account as appropriate. Especially in the design of this urbanization day. We are in touch, of course, with the commercial company to organize the pavilion space, how we can make sure this feeds into your work, knowing that financial resources are restricted. This holistic agenda, I think, will help us to even expand the new partnerships and new actors into the process, and while bringing the momentum of the previous COPs as well. So these are really very helpful. If you allow me, I would like to continue, and if you have time, we'll be more than happy if you can stay with us, because we will have a couple of more updates, especially from our positions for COP29. Our colleagues will be sharing this. I see now we have just a screenshot of our website for the champ. I will now give the floor to Leah, because the urban component was just refreshed and presented even a more holistic perspective with country brief and other additional information. Leah, maybe you can refer to this report very briefly, and also maybe also share how UNHCR is contributing to the work supported or are supporting the work of the COP29 presidency. The floor is yours, Leah.
Thank you so much, Yunus, and thanks, Emma, also for this phenomenal overview. Really great to see all these priorities, and really a pleasure working with you together on turning all of this into reality. So let me dive a bit into this urban content of the NDC report, which is a report that is jointly published by UN Habitat, Southern Denmark University, and UNDP. We had the launch of this publication, of the latest publication of this at the SBs in Bonn. And so you might be familiar with the figure that Yunus is just sharing on his screen. But I think this is the message is really clear. It means that not enough of our NDCs have a strong focus on urban content. What does that mean? Only 27% of the NDCs currently have a strong focus on urban content, meaning that cities are a priority across the NDCs in how national governments identify mitigation, adaptation challenges and responses, but also climate hazards at the urban level. So we do see a big disconnect in how cities are, for example, impacted by climate change, but this is not being reflected in many of the NDCs. So there is a big room for improvement. Again, 27% have strong urban content. That means have made cities a priority section or really reflecting upon this in the NDCs. 39% have moderate urban content, meaning that cities are sprinkled throughout the NDCs, but not very comprehensively. And 35 have either no or low urban content. And I guess you can all guess what that means. So I think now, as of course, all countries are working in 2024 towards revising their NDCs. The idea and the goal is very much to work together to really make sure that when we take stock at COP30, that this map that you're seeing on the screen has a lot more countries with a strong urban, focus on, with a strong urban content in the NDCs. And of course, CHAMP is playing into this, where one of the deliverables or KPIs, so to say, will of course be, will countries have stronger urban content? And if you're curious about how these numbers would look in CHAMP endorsing countries, actually the percentages look fairly similar, not exactly identical, but also roughly one third spread across CHAMP endorsing countries. So that also means that across these countries, there's lots of big potential for stronger collaboration between local and national governments when it comes to the NDC preparation. As a last thing I'll mention, and that's where also, of course, 2024 and COP29 will be so critical, is there has been also this big push by the Secretary General of the UN to the entire UN system in supporting member states in the revised NDCs. So of course, we're also really hoping that this aspect of building more on cities in the upcoming revised NDCs will be a big contribution also to this collective call globally as well. So COP29 will be a phenomenal moment for all of us to collectively also take stock of where we stand. There might be some front runners that have already started to develop their NDCs, and we can collectively learn from that as well. So really hoping that we can also make this, and we will be making this a strong moment on the agenda as well for this kind of work. Yunus, back to you.
Thank you, Leah. And maybe we can also again make this connection, these discussions and preparations, we had in the past several different brands of our days at the COPs. We had Cities Day in Warsaw, which was the first time. We had Cities and Regions Day. We have Multi-Level Action Day. This year it's Urbanization Day. So it also fits perfectly this urban component and urbanization becoming more visible and with the finance. So we have multi-level action and urbanization pavilion. We have Urbanization Day and the finance highway of COP. And that makes even more important why COP in Baku should be successful so that we can be comfortable to bring the results to Belém. And we are advancing on that. Just to continue, we know we have 15 minutes left, but just these are the screenshots from our previous events once we have discussed, especially also from Sao Paulo. You can see here how both Urban 20 and Nuclear World Congress with Brazil Minister of Cities, Maimouna Sharif, Razan Al Mubarak, was part of all the mobilization that we have worked on. The draft, the resolutions adopted by the three associations of National Association of Germany, Brazil, US is also very powerful. They support, they commend their national government, they express their readiness to work with their national government, and they also make a message to their local governments so that they step up and bring their new commitments and actions in collaboration with their national government. We hopefully brand it through the town hall COPs as a mechanism to support other initiatives. And I'm delighted to give the floor to my colleague Heloise from Regions 4, who has been part of the drafting committee of the COP29 position or key messages of the LGMA constituency. We are very happy that both Shahriar and Elmar Bey is here with us because the topics she will present is also summary of what we are bringing to the table. Shiko, Heloise, the floor is yours so that you can take us through our document.
Great, thank you, Yunus. Hi, everyone. So we've been part as Regions 4 of the drafting committee of the LGMA messages. For those of you that are not so familiar about the process, essentially every year, and we did that particularly last year, we shaped together as a constituency some key messages for the negotiations, looking at all the different strands of the negotiations and with predefined text for the negotiations so that we can then work with our respective cities and regions so they can carry those messages and engage with their parties so that the needs of subnationals are taken into account. And therefore, we've been drafting these messages through our drafting committee. And the next steps is now to finalize these messages. So we will be looking at the end of July for finalizing the draft of the messages and then sending it to all of you for review in August for your latest inputs by, we had said 23rd, but I think we will extend to the end of August, which would be very important because some of you are leaders on some of the strands of the negotiations, so having your inputs are key. And then we will look at tidying the position so that we can send for endorsement a final position by the 6th of September, up until COP. And what we mean by endorsement is really having the logos of your networks. And in some cases, if your cities or regional governments want to engage directly, they can also provide logos. We had done this last year, and it really galvanizes support. And then we would launch the messages. So we could launch some of the messages at the New York Climate Week with those that have already endorsed by them. And then we would look at an official launch of the messages on hopefully the first day of COP through a press conference, which really sets the tone for the LGMA constituency and what we're calling for COP. And I think the next slide, so this is just to give you an idea, this is our 10 top line messages. On each of these, you will have a synthesized text on what we mean by each of these calls, and also a caption of what we're calling for the negotiations, meaning in the text of the negotiations. So we really invite you to review in August and give your inputs and then endorse these LGMA messages.
Thank you, Heloise. We have discussed that these 10 points are mainly focused on the NDCs, the new climate finance. There will be a special focus also on loss and damage that we already have made some direct access to subnational level. We will focus also on the finance introduction of the Article 6.8 as a new non-market approach, the synergy between nature, food, and biodiversity, the transparency framework that we have been working a lot to improve in a way that is reducing reporting burden, and then we will also relate ourselves to the new multilateralism that is emerging from Summit of the Future, and especially in the just transition to ensure that the just transition across the world is taken, including local regions, as appropriate. So these are the main headlines, and as Hello has mentioned, we will support this with negotiation text, and that brings us actually our LGMA is 100 days in the next couple of weeks and months. If you look at the list of agendas, we are starting with our virtual forums on the daring cities. We will see that there will be regional NDC forums kicking off. The announcement from UNEP, UNFCC was launched yesterday, and we would like to make sure that our members in every region can participate in the meetings. We will then contribute in the nominations for IPCC AR7 Spatial Report on Cities. Lea and many urbanists were a part of the scoping committee, scoping meeting in Riva in April. Now the process starts that the nations nominate their lead authors, and we will also nominate our accredited organization. But we'd like to make sure those national nominations also have our urbanists in the game so that they can contribute in the process. In early September, we'll go to Montreal for Innovate for Cities. End of April, we will be in the World Assembly of Local Energy Governments in contribution to the UN Summit. And the champ endorsers high-level political dialogue as part of New York City Climate Week. And we are aware COP28 and 29 presidency and the Troika will also have several consultations, and we will try to make sure our leaders in New York will also be part of the discussions. In Europe, we will have an Aalborg summit. It's important because of the new EU leadership is defined. So that's an opportunity for European cities to define their position. Mitigation work program that you remember, the third dialogue was focusing on buildings. The fourth dialogue will focus on urban system. This will be in the beginning of October in Sharm el-Sheikh. Pre-COP on the 10th or 11th of October is in Baku. Then we will be in Biodiversity COP in Cali, Colombia. We will follow what's going on with G20 environment ministers. Throughout Urban October, we hope to see some town hall COPs being on shaping and producing results. WOOF 12 will be at the beginning of November in Cairo, in back-to-back also with G7 Urban Ministerial and Urban 7 Mayor Summit. And finally, we'll go to Climate COP29, as you have heard. We will start with a press conference before the Leaders Summit. Throughout the 2 weeks, we will have the multi-level action and urbanization pavilion, and then we will feed into the urbanization day on the 20th of November. Meanwhile, we will be present in G20 Social Summit and Urban 20 Mayor Summit. And after Baku, we will continue to Riyadh for the desertification COP so that we make the 3 Rio Conventions process talk to each other effectively. And among these, in addition to these preparations, we are also very active in Cali. The region, subnational governments and cities summit has already announced its date in collaboration with the Convention by the Secretariat and Colombian government. And we will also continue to make the bridges between these processes as an innovation that is definitely needed in the age of climate and nature emergencies and plastics and pollution emergencies as a cross-cutting area. So we have 4 minutes left. Today's presentations and inputs from our speakers were relatively longer than our regular agendas, but I think there was a worthwhile flow of information. I would check in the chat box if there are any emerging points. Any colleagues who would like to respond can also come back. But I think it would be nice if we give the floor back to Elmar Bey for closing remarks as well, so that he can respond and can share any feedbacks from what he has heard so far.
Yeah.
The floor is yours, Elmar Bey.
Thank you very much. Once again, it's indeed very, very useful presentations and all this information. Just I would like to mention 2 points. One that COP29 presidency initiated establishment of new format of between 3 COPs. It will be Rio Trio. And maybe Rio Trio could be also could be also new format for discussions of particularly afforestation, reforestation in cities from the land degradation point of view. It could be a common topic. And second one on Troika issue. Because Troika has its own mandate, its 1.5 mandate mission, particularly for action agenda. We are considering specifically issues. For example, in the case of climate and health, there are 5 countries because health started from UK. We have 5 COPs, and we are now creating a coalition of 5 COPs, COP to COP continuity coalition. In the case of urban development, I think that 4 countries, Egypt, United Arab Emirates, Azerbaijan, Brazil at this stage, but in the future it could be newcomers. That's why I would like just to propose that maybe we can, for urban development issues, we can consider 4 countries, to add also Egypt, because Surge was born in Egypt. Thank you.
Definitely. I think this is a very, very welcoming and encouraging proposal. We fully agree. Egypt will also host the WOOF, just like the COP and WOOF. Azerbaijan is also following a similar practice, which is, I think, very helpful. And also, even in the UK, we are hopeful because UK during Dubai COP28 was the only country from G7 who had not endorsed CHAMP. And we hope in the next couple of weeks, our colleagues in the UK are very, very committed to make sure to announce UK as one of the endorsers, the new endorsers with the new government, and as well as other efforts. So we are very, very eager to support and connect our work. We are also part of this One Health initiative, especially through biodiversity and health agenda. So definitely these efforts to unite these the achievements and make sure that we create synergies is something that is extremely valuable. And with the desertification, we'll also make sure that there's an important agenda, especially on land degradation and drought, which is a serious issue, both in terms of urban sprawl, but also urban forestry, urban agriculture, urban nature, as you have addressed. Our colleagues, I know many of our colleagues in this webinar have appreciated these additional new information. From now on, we will continue to stay in touch. Tomorrow, we will receive the links to the recording and the presentation. You will also receive the position paper link once again, as well as the declaration of the draft declaration, which is the working document link created by our colleagues from Human Habitat to enable inputs. We will make sure by the end of this month, we will send both specific comments, but also a consolidated response as well. We will get back to you on the way we will advance with the pavilion. And as you have seen, both in September and in October, we will have a number of encounters with the presidency, and hopefully we will improve our dialogues through these opportunities. And hopefully we will come back to Baku with a full of passion, energy, and results for our communities. Thank you once again, Elmar Bey, Shahriar, Leah, Heloise, and all the participants of this call. We will be having our next webinar in the 3rd week of August, and in that webinar we'll hope to get the members of the COP29 advisory board, Maimuna Sharif and Josephine Belmonte as well, so that we can also benefit their leadership and vision, so that this could be supporting our work. Until that moment, take good care of yourselves and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Bye.